Ready when you are.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started then. To start off with, if you're attending remotely, please sign in. To unmute on the phone, *6. To unmute on the web conference, click the microphone at the bottom of the title bar, and then space bar works. I couldn't get Control D to work. And always identify yourself before speaking. This is Carl. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 10:02. Roll call. Jennifer?
Good morning, everybody, and we'll be calling roll for all those who were newly elected or re-elected. So this is the 2026 roster. CCI, Scott James or alternates. Alternates are Tina Powell, Julie Nelson, or Allison Theunison. CML, Owen Brigner.
Here.
Thank you. Accessibility Community Rep, Sadie Martinez. I see Sadie. Maybe she's having trouble unmuting. At large, Michael Berry or alternate.
Michael Berry is here.
Thank you. BEST, Tressa Carter or Tim Kunkelman.
Tressa's here.
Thank you. BESP, Ryan Sargasi in Toronto.
Ryan's here.
Thank you. ILEC, Jeff Winkleman.
Good morning, Jeff, sir.
Good morning. ILEC, Jason Hendricks.
Sure.
Good morning. Wireless, Jenny Santana.
Good morning, this is Jenny.
Wireless, Ryan Hoke.
Hello, both Mary and I are here.
Good morning to both. CLEC, VoIP, Cindy Hartkop or alternates. CLEC, VoIP, Jay Slater.
Jay Slater's here.
Good morning.
Morning.
911, Jody Chin.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. 911, Kim Zimmerman. Sorry, I'm just waiting for Cindy. Cindy Hartkop just joined. So Cindy, I will show you as present. We just went past your name.
Thank you.
Yep. 911, Cindy Castile or alternates.
Shauna's here.
Thank you. 911, Kimberly Colt. I see Kimberly. She may be having trouble unmuting. 911, Jackie Reynolds. Or alternates.
I see Jackie Reynolds.
This is
Thank
Jackie. We're here.
Good morning. 911, Beth Dobransky. I see Beth. I see that she might not have a mic, so I'm going to mark her here. 911, Felicia Librand or alternates.
Felicia's here.
Good morning. 911, Jeff Urban.
Jeff, sir.
Good morning. 911, Renee Henshaw or alternate, Matt Toll. Thought I saw Matt, but I was wrong. Okay. 911, Deanie Shin or alternate.
Good morning, Deanie's here.
Good morning. 911, Andrew Dameron or alternate.
Jody's here.
Good morning. 911, Kyle Mickelson or alternate.
I am here. Good morning.
Good morning. 911, Tina Bonetta or alternate. 911, Kathy Rayleigh is not present. 911, Matt Gage or alternate.
Good morning.
Good morning. 911, Carl is here. 911, Brad Riggin or alternate.
Good morning, Brad's here.
Good morning. All right. Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, great. And then our next item of business is approval of the November 13th meeting minutes. Is there any changes? Or can I get a motion to approve?
Carl, this is Michael. I do have one minor change in the approval. I believe Kathy's name is spelled wrong.
That auto corrects every single time. I don't know why.
But other than that, I would move to accept the minutes.
Okay, second.
Matt.
Matt seconds. Thank you very much. Anybody opposed? Okay, it passes. Okay. Our next item is presentations, TCPR Nation of Lifesavers.
All right, so happy to introduce Stephanie Chapman from the American Heart Association. They have a presentation for us on TCPR, so I'm going to stop sharing and allow her team to share their screen, and we welcome you to the Colorado PUC Task Force meeting.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here and visit with you this morning. My name is Stephanie Chapman. I am a consultant for the American Heart Association working on Nation of Lifesavers in Texas and Colorado. I'm joined by my colleague and partner in some of this work, Mark Chandler from Laerdal. We'll turn it over to Mark in a little bit. As you probably know, the American Heart Association has been involved with CPR since the beginning. In the 1960s, we published the first CPR guidelines. In the 1970s, we established our network of training centers, which is still going strong. We've launched programs like Operation Heartbeat, National CPR Day. We have remained steadfast in our commitment to CPR since the very beginning, since the science first came out. But 3 years ago, just last week, things changed. When Damar Hamlin went down on the field in front of the entire country, we saw an opportunity. Suddenly, people were much more interested in CPR than they had ever been before. So we wanted to seize that opportunity and see how we could make sure that more lay responders are prepared and how we can help better equip our first responders. So Nation of Lifesavers was born as a branding campaign, but over these 3 years, we have really evolved to include public policy, programming, and public awareness campaigns. In the fall of 2024, the state of Colorado was identified as one of 3 markets where the American Heart Association wanted to really infuse resources and build a volunteer infrastructure to support further community intervention. So we put the people there and we bring the volunteers together and we see what opportunities we have and what we can do. After about a year, we were very, very fortunate to get the attention of BNSF Railways. They saw what we were doing with just manpower and very little money, and they wanted to fund the work so that we could really amplify our impact. So with their support since September of last year, we have been working in several areas. We're training lay people through schools, through faith-based organizations and public settings. We're working with all kinds of organizations, including schools, community organizations, faith-based organizations, business places, to put into place cardiac emergency response plans to make sure that they know what to do when a cardiac emergency might happen. We're working to place a CPR kiosk in a high traffic area where the public can walk by and practice and actually get feedback from a mannequin. We're supporting the work of the Resuscitation Academy in Colorado, and we're so excited that on February 7th, they will have a high quality CPR Train the Trainer event hosted by Louisville Fire. I'll ask Mark to mention this when he comes on, but there is a 3-hour telecommunicator session that still has spots open, so we would love for you to join us if you're interested. Finally, we are thrilled to bring telecommunicator CPR education to every public service answering point in the state of Colorado to support call takers if they want it. We want to help increase confidence in guiding people through CPR. We have listened to enough calls to know how difficult that can be and hope that we can help. So with that, Mark, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And I'm going to share my screen, so just let me get that up real quick. All right, so I'm going to go over a little bit about our TCPR course that we offer. But before that, just a quick introduction. My name is Mark Chandler. I work with Laerdal and RQI. I've been there about 7 years. I work from home in Corvallis, Oregon. And prior to that, I spent 24 years at a medium large 911 center where I had multiple roles here in the state of Oregon. So it's nice to be amongst some friends here today. So what we're offering is a telecommunicator specific TCPR course. I'm going to move some things around so I can see my screen. So telecommunicators, as you know, take a large variety of time critical calls, but one would argue a 911 call involving cardiac arrest is the one call where telecommunicators make a huge difference in their actions and whether that patient survives or has better chances of surviving. So we believe that consistent TCPR training is critical to the success of the telecommunicators and their patients while addressing those first few minutes of cardiac arrest. RQI, Resuscitation Quality Improvement, has created a 2 to 4 hour TCPR course that's hosted on an adaptive learning platform. And I will go through what that looks like and some of the content that we have and our course offers. So, for people that are enrolled in the platform, they'll get an invitation to RQI One Stop, which is our LMS learning platform. And once there, they can access the course. So the course components, it's 2 to 4 hours, depending on the learner's previous knowledge and how they navigate the course. It results in a TCPR course certificate that's valid for 1 year. The training's online, self-paced. People can start and stop where they left off during the course. And it meets or exceeds state TCPR training requirements. It's AHA approved. It's MPDS approved. It's PowerPhone approved. And recently we worked with our folks and friends over in Denver 911 where they vetted the course and they approve it as well. Some of the topics that we cover, we cover the 5 core competencies of a call involving cardiac arrest. So the first topic is understanding the first 600 seconds, which is the first 10 minutes of a cardiac arrest. And for the most part, with response times and how long it takes somebody to call 911, the telecommunicators own that first 600 seconds. We talk about the importance of their role and what TCPR is. And then we go into one of the most challenging and important pieces of call involving cardiac arrest, and that's identifying cardiac arrest, because that can be challenging with agonal respirations. We have a lot of great call examples, videos from doctors and medical directors that are, specialized in this area. Then we go and, I think a lot of training is already lacking in the coaching high quality CPR thing. So once we recognize, what does good patient care look like until help takes over? So we have a deep dive into that, and I can go into that content a little bit. We also talk about caller management and some tips and tricks on how to handle highly emotional callers that sometimes are a part of these calls. And then also we have special circumstances, things that don't happen very often, like pregnancy related, cardiac arrest, opioid overdoses, the seizure challenges with seizure presentation, LVADs, and other topics there. So once you get invited to the platform, One Stop, you just access your course. And what you'll know here, we have 2 different courses available. We have a course for the no-go systems or PowerPhone. And then we have one specific course for any of the agencies that use MPDS. It has their call examples using scripted protocols, and it goes over, the ineffective breathing terms and all of that. So 2 tracks depending on whether or not your agency uses MPDS protocols. Just as kind of once you get into the course, the first thing you'll be brought into is this adaptive learning platform. So you can kind of set the initial slider to how well you believe you know the topic, and then it will work throughout the course on adjusting. So each learner will have a little bit different experience based on what they know and what they retain as they're going through the course. Here's that coaching of high quality CPR section. Is we, again, I think, this is where this course stands out, because this is all about patient care and what happens after where you recognize cardiac arrest, which is really important, right? Positioning barriers, positioning the patient is the most common delay or barrier to CPR. So we have a pretty good segment on that, and talking about compression rate, coaching and establishing the compression rate, the importance of the correct depth and recoil and how to encourage that over the phone. We talk about pediatric patients, AEDs, and a very comprehensive dive into patient care there. The next is here is a screenshot of our platform. So, you can play videos. This is a part of a short video with audio. This is a great slide about the slope of death and, how telecommunicators kind of interrupt that and buy some time for the patient. You'll see here on the bottom, these are the adaptive learning inputs where, it will gauge your confidence throughout the learning to customize it to your needs there. Then I'm going to show you like a video. So I'm going to pop out here real quick of the PowerPoint and bring up a video and show you how the video is working with sound. You should be able to hear my sound. If you don't hear sound when I start playing with it, just somebody holler and I'll see if I can fix that.
One of the things to bear in mind is that when a patient collapses, the most important intervention they need to have at that point is chest compression for perfusion. Ventilation is not so critical in the early phases of cardiac arrest. And that's because when someone collapses suddenly, the chances are the oxygen level in the blood and the other elements of the blood are still there and they're doing just fine. They need to be circulated.
That's an example of the video, and I can say, okay, I think I've got this one, and it will advance to the next section, and that's kind of how the platform works there. Back to my presentation here. So that's just a very brief presentation on how what's in the course and how the course content works. Here's a copy of their certificate. So at the end of the course, they will get receive a certificate for the course that's valid for 1 year from the date taken. And then what's also available too is compliance reports. So if your agency enrolls folks, you can always send me an email and say, hey, where's everybody at? And I can easily and quickly send you a report of who's completed the course, who's not started the course, and who's started the course, and all of that. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the presentation, about the course, or anything else. All right, with that said, Stephanie, do you want to talk about the opportunity here?
Sure. As I mentioned before, BNSF Railways has provided funding for us to bring this to PSAPs across the state of Colorado. So if your organization is interested in training your telecommunicators, the American Heart Association and BNSF are picking up the bill. There will be no cost to you, and you'll just need to email us and let us know, and we can start conversations. We are thrilled that after several months of working with Denver 911, they were very generous to look at the course with a red pen and help us make it even better. We're thrilled that they plan, we hope, to launch the first round of education in February to celebrate the beginning of Heart Month. Any questions for us? Okay, Colorado.
Thanks. Actually, Stephanie, this is Jennifer. I do have a question. Can you just talk to a little bit more about the difference between TCPR and the CPR that's found in EMD protocols and why it might be very important to have both?
I can speak a little bit about this. So, one of the things, why we created the course, this is contextual, right? Now, I believe that hands-on CPR is valuable for everybody, right? And I think the telecommunicators really need to still have those skills and understand that after a couple minutes of CPR, I'm getting tired. And we should be thinking about our callers. But our course is contextual because as a telecommunicator, you're not doing CPR, right? you're not there recognizing the signs of cardiac arrest in that patient. You're talking to somebody and trying to work through that recognition piece and all the challenges that come with that and the potential denial you'll get when you tell somebody that CPR is necessary. And then what do we do to ensure that somebody else is ensuring high quality CPR? And it's a little bit different skill set there. And I believe that that's why this course is really successful. And it's your role. It's all designed to be the telecommunicator's role and in cardiac arrest and how they can make a difference on the outcomes.
Thanks, Mark. So would you say that it's valuable to have like if we're training our telecommunicators already in CPR through AHA or others, it's still, what I'm hearing is that it's still really valuable to have also the TCPR certification specifically for those who are guiding others through the CPR process.
Definitely, it's a whole different skill set, I believe, and it's very important and it's specific. And again, this isn't a call that we take every day, right? But it's one of the most important calls that they will take because if they don't recognize cardiac arrest in a timely manner, a lot of things don't happen, right? We don't, for the agencies that send police with AEDs, they're not getting there quickly, right? And maybe we work with, the agencies that work with a Vive and have automatic AEDs being sent out by citizen responders, those get delayed, right? So it's really important to, to talk about the recognition piece that, and getting through some of those challenges that really aren't covered by those, hands-on CPR courses, because that's not their area, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Jeff Irvin with Jefferson County Emergency Communication Authority. We have 3 ECCs, and how can I best communicate this opportunity to the training managers in those ECCs?
Jeff, if you want, would you mind emailing me and we'll set up some time? We'll set up a quick call and we can talk about it then.
Sure. And
My
your address
email,
again? Okay.
yeah, I don't see a chat to where I can drop it, but I'm stephanie.chapman@heart.org. Hopefully you can see the spelling of my name on the screen. It's just the old school way.
Got it. Thank you.
Also send my email address. Anybody has any questions about this or the content or anything TCPR, I work with the Resuscitation Academy. I'm actually going to be teaching a course. I just remembered I was supposed to talk about this at the the Colorado RA on the 7th. So I created a course called High Performance TCPR for the Resuscitation Academy. We recently piloted it in Maryland, so the second version will be coming up. So would love to have you folks there if there's room. But other than that, here's my email address here. It's just mark.chandler@rqipartners.com. RQI Partners. The partners is AHA and Laird all there. Okay.
And Mark and Stephanie, unfortunately, due to security requirements at the PUC, we don't have a chat. However, I will put your email specifically into the minutes of the call.
Thank you.
And I see that Michael Berry's got his hand raised.
I'm sorry, I was just going to ask Stephanie one more time. It was Stephanie Chapman at what?
Stephanie.Chapman@heart.org.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Well, if no more questions, that's all we have for you today. We're so grateful for the time and we hope to work with all of you on this endeavor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity.
And then our next item are our standing reports. First one, PUC staff report. It is in the standing reports. Any updates, Jennifer?
Nothing to add, although when I first put this report together earlier this week, the State of the 911 report to the General Assembly hadn't been scheduled yet. It is now. It will be Wednesday, January 14th upon adjournment. So anybody who wants to tune into that, but the report is the same one that was circulated last September. So other than that, no additions.
Okay, thank you. BSP report, Lumen.
Nothing today, thank you.
Okay, BSP report in Toronto.
Nothing today as well. Thank you.
Okay, bylaws committee. Kimberly says no updates, changes request to bylaws.
Correct.
And then legislative committee, Jackie. We have a prepaid initiative draft being reviewed by the committee, and CCOA lobbyists are working with sponsors of the bill to get the bill going. And the session starts next Wednesday. Anything else, Jackie?
The only thing I forgot to put in there was another plug to please entertain your representatives at your PSAP and let them know your needs. It's imperative that we get that word out there so that if other legislation does come up that wants to use 911 funding, they at least have had some education on what you need and what you've used funding for. Thanks.
Thank you. And I do have my lobbyist working on a resolution for National Telecommunicator Week. And when I get more information or it gets closer, we'll get that out to everybody. But we ask for everybody's support on that. Hopefully it's non-controversial.
Thank you
next
for that,
item.
Carl. It shouldn't be controversial.
The next item is 988 report. Nate, do you have any further update?
So I'm still new in this position, and I mean the whole program's new. I've been surprised by the pushback. I know from a law enforcement background, I know change is extremely hard in this profession. But it was, I don't know, it's still, I guess frustrating is the best word. But I'm learning to work through that. And then there's a House bill that hasn't been voted on, but it is going to the Senate. It's House Bill 5725. And basically what that's doing is it's really getting like a federal standard of saying that there is a third prong to 911, that there's law enforcement, there's medical and fire. And then there is this mental health side that has to be dealt with appropriately. It goes over things such as having clinicians embedded in 911 call centers and transferring calls to 988 and making that a federal standard. So, Colorado has always been kind of ahead of the curve, and that's kind of what my position is trying to do before that comes out. Again, the resistance to change from sending undertrained law enforcement to mental health calls where they can simply and immediately be transferred to a professional to help with that crisis. So it's an ongoing process, but that's all. Thank you.
Any questions for Nate? Okay. Next item is Equal Access Committee. It's vacant, but I don't believe there's been any meetings, correct, Jennifer?
There have not been any meetings. We do have a new accessibility voting member, Sadie Martinez, and I believe if the chair wished her to serve as the chair of the Equal Access Committee, I think she's happy to serve.
Sadie, are you interested in doing that?
Trying to speak. Are you able to hear me?
We can.
Oh, yay. I found the right magic button. Yeah, I would be willing to do that. We do a lot of this similar work, and we're finding that it might align up. So if interest or if you all are in agreement, I'd be happy to serve on that and start that back up.
Okay. I think currently it's ad hoc, but that's kind of up to you, and I will appoint you as the chair of the Equal Access Committee. Anything else? Next item is Outage Committee. I know the staff has been working on 3 PSAP disruptions, as well as several from last year. Any updates from staff?
No further updates beyond what's on the screen.
Okay, thank you. And then broadband, Kristen. Okay, hearing nothing. Prepaid collections committee, Jackie's currently working on legislation for that. Anything else, Jackie?
No further updates. Thank you.
Okay. EZNet user group, Steve.
Morning, Carl. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I got a couple quick updates. First, the EUG has developed an educational opportunity for PSAP and authority personnel to learn about how 911 is purchased in other states. We've scheduled a facilitated panel discussion with 6 different states being represented, and that's going to be January 20th from 10 to noon for PSAP personnel or authority personnel. If you need that invite sent to you for login, you can contact myself or Jennifer. Also, the EUG has developed a presentation framework to distribute to interested BESP vendors to present for future lunch and learns to our 911 community across the state for how they provide 911 to states throughout the country. We haven't set any dates. We actually haven't distributed this yet, but we will be sometime the first quarter for scheduling those lunch and learn presentations in the first half of 2026. And the last thing I've got is I just want to do a quick plug. The OEM directors across the Front Range have developed an initiative called the Wildfire Initiated Community Conflagration, or WIC. There are 3 workshops that have been scheduled for talking about various impacts and processes and systems related to wildfire within urban areas. The next one is January 21st from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. in person at the Hyatt Regency in Denver. It is specifically focused on alert and warning, and then also response. So if you are part of an alerting authority or take part in IPAWS or emergency alerting as a PSAP or authority, this will be an important one to attend if possible. The QR code for signing up to attend just came out this morning, and I will distribute it to the EUG distribution group, and then I'll push over to Carl too if he can send it out to this, if it's different contacts for PSAPs and authority personnel to sign up. That's all I've got. End of report.
And then those that attend, we could get an update from them if we're not able to attend, correct?
Absolutely, for the WIC. And then also the other 2 things I mentioned, the panel discussion and any kind of lunch and learn, those will also be recorded for those that couldn't attend and want to catch themselves up.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Steve? Okay, thank you. GIS committee, Matt.
Nothing to add for this item.
Okay. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I think it's on the agenda further down.
Next item, PCS report or PSCS report. Deanie says no updates at this time, and they have a meeting later today. SWIC report, anything additional, Amanda? Okay. Division Fire Prevention and Control report, Connie. Anything additional?
I don't have anything additional. We do have a meeting coming up next week.
Okay. And then we'll go on to the Colorado 911 Resource Center. Any additional information?
I don't, if anybody's got any questions.
Okay. Rapid SOS update.
Thanks, Carl. Hey, folks, happy 2026. I will do my best to keep this short and sweet. Obviously, we've been up to a lot, so I want to do my best to make sure you're aware of some of the features and functionalities in the tool you have access to today. Please also get at me offline if you'd like to learn more, if you'd like some one-on-one training. I've been doing that all across Colorado. I'd love to come sit at the PSAP and walk you and your dispatchers through some of these new core features and functionality. If you were not aware, text from 911 in Rapid SOS, whether the phone number did or did not dial 911, you can have a text conversation with them. You can also have a text message conversation with them in 130 plus languages and dialects and counting. So in a pinch, if you need to have a text conversation with somebody in Spanish or Farsi or Russian or German, you can do that inside Rapid SOS. It is live for you today. You've asked, we listened, Axon integration inside RapidSOS. You can now search by the unit name or badge number or department inside RapidSOS Unite. So if you're an agency that dispatches for multiple law enforcement jurisdictions and you have the Axon integration where you see their body cams inside RapidSOS, now you can search. Been asking about that for a long time, and that just went live a couple weeks ago. If you've ever used Google Maps and you're driving around using your directions and you jump ahead to see where the next turn is, so on and so forth, and you notice that recenter button in Google Maps, 911 has asked for that a lot. Previously, RapidSOS would jump to the latest 911 caller location. Now you have the ability to navigate your map while on an existing 911 call and also choose to recenter the button. That was effective late last year. Happy to walk you folks through it offline if you'd like to. 2026, we're leveling up our training offerings. We have an entire training and professional development team that works at RapidSOS. They do some really cool things. The first thing that we took care of was we moved the training center icon out of the menu. So it is on the main toolbar inside RapidSOS. It is robust. It's full of tons of training on every data partner, every feature, every functionality inside RapidSOS. So by all means, please use it. We also offer a training analytics platform at no cost. So if you want to assign training to your dispatchers and track their completion, I can get you set up with that inside RapidSOS as well. We're doing some really cool excellence in training awards this year for 911 centers that really take the reins of training inside RapidSOS, where we'll be able to give you prizes, awards, certificates, and all sorts of fun stuff for leveling up your training surrounding RapidSOS. It would take me an hour to talk about all the new partners RapidSOS has. One of the biggest is Skydio drones. This one's big for real-time crime because they're a mainstay in real-time crime all across the US and Colorado especially. What this integration does is between RapidSOS and Skydio at no cost, we can send the 911 caller location to the Skydio platform so that real-time crime centers don't have to wait for a call for service to drop in their CAD or whatever means they typically use in order to launch a drone or decide to take decisive action using a drone. The integration goes deeper beyond that. I'm happy to, again, talk about it offline. A couple other featured partners we just launched with Walmart, with FedEx, with DoorDash, and with Lyft. So be on the lookout for seeing data from some of those partners inside RapidSOS in conjunction with an existing 911 call. Again, thanks so very much for the outlet and the opportunity to be here and share some of this cool information with you folks. I'll say it one last time, please get with me offline. Happy to do some in-person engagement and training with you and your dispatchers. That's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for Sam? Okay, thank you, Sam. Next item is Colorado Training Standards Institute update. There's a report. Any additional thing, CJ?
No, nothing else to add.
Thank you. CCOA, Kimberly?
Hi, Carl. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Funky audio today. So nothing else to add. Just a plug again, if you're interested in joining and you're a 911 authority, we would love to have you.
Thank you. And I know Kimberly's worked quite a bit on getting several better pricing for everybody that's a CCOA member, and I think that's definitely helpful. And we do have a meeting next Thursday. Okay. Next item is 911 Services Enterprise. Michael.
No additional updates for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, when will the grant session start opening up?
That will be a agenda topic item at our February 4th meeting. So we'll hopefully be able to clarify and have some information ready around that. Obviously, as you guys know, 911 funds don't actually come through immediately, so we're not expecting any kind of cash on hand, if you will, until probably April. So we want to make sure we're setting that expectation and making sure people understand that's not something we can do today.
Correct. Thank you. Okay. Next item, old business elections. Elections were sent out. Jennifer sent out the results. Anything additional, Jennifer?
Thanks, Carl. I sent out the results to the voting members, but not to the entire task force list. So Those who were up for re-election in all but the 911 were all re-elected, and then 10 911 members were elected. We have one new 911 representative, Kim Zimmerman. And for the record, we did have several voting members join during the TCPR presentation, so the roster has been updated with their attendance for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? And welcome
Congratulations
Kim as a
to all.
voting. Yeah, welcome Kim as a voting member. Next item that the last meeting we did have a presentation through Resilient Link discussion on what our next steps would be. I think this is kind of a good thing that we should probably test, but we're looking for someone that would like to take this on. Is that correct, Jennifer?
Yeah, so I don't know if Jay Mallon was able to join the meeting today, but the presentation was about Resilient Link's possible solution for aggregating outage notifications and building a dashboard that's statewide that would show what outages were happening across the state in both 911 and the OSP outages. It could be a useful tool for kind of sifting through some of those OSP outages that I know that PSAPs are getting sometimes in multiple, and be a tool for determining what's actually affecting PSAPs and what is not. I think the request from Resilient Link was whether or not Colorado wanted to be a pilot project. I do not know the specifics about pricing or anything like that, or what that would entail. And so, as Carl said, I think we're looking from this group to see if anybody has the space on their calendar to kind of lead up that project and get more information and bring it back to the task force to see if that's something that Colorado's 911 community is interested in serving as the pilot.
Kimberly, go ahead.
I don't mind having me or my team reach out and start the conversation with them to at least take that initial information back to the task force.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Anything else? Okay, next item, CenturyLink customer service issues tracker, Jim or Jeff.
Good morning, it's Jeff. And I neglected to send over the last issue of that, or the last copy of it. The only thing that's really left on it, excuse me, is the items. Am I able to share my screen and I can show you what I've got?
Yeah, Jennifer, I believe we'll have to stop sharing hers and give you access.
Let me know if you can see.
Okay, we can see.
Okay. The only thing left on here right now is this section. There's quite a few different things on there. The first item, and I don't know if we want to bring this up now or if we want to set a special time to talk through this, is as far as accountability in the tariff. We need to be able to find out specifically what that item was pointing towards. So like I said, do we want to actually go into a discussion on this now, or do we want to set up a special time for that?
Is there anybody on the call that could answer it now? Because we may need to do more work on it before we can answer it.
Okay. I'd like to hear what they have now, and then if we need a further meeting, do it. I think we have plenty of time this morning, do we not? This is Jack.
Yeah, but yeah, my understanding was he was asking for clarification on stuff, so that's what I'm concerned if we actually have that clarification.
Okay.
But go ahead, Jeff, so we could talk a little bit more about it.
Well, this came up in the meeting, I believe it was back in June, and we just need to find out what the point was made at that time, what they were looking for in particular. Because we want to be able to work with the community itself, and as far as the accountability, we'd like to be able to hold ourselves accountable as well as have you keep us accountable. But we need to know a little more specifically what we're looking as far as the accountability is concerned.
You want a list of pain points.
Yes, that's probably the best way to put it. Thank you, Matt.
We could probably come up with a list either going through previous or past minutes of the EUG meetings or this task force, but I know we've brought up several in the past.
Okay. Then, as far as second item, well, Carl, do you want me to get with you as far as those particular points? Just so we don't hold this up?
Yeah, we could follow up later. I'll be gone next week, though.
Okay.
And the rest of this week.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be at the NINA's Standards and Best Practices next week as well. So I don't know if that's where you're going to be, but I will be out as well. Yeah. Okay. And as far as the single point of contact, we had mentioned this before, the escalation list that Jennifer's got a copy of is going to be the point of contact that we'll be able to utilize for that. We're still working on getting a meeting set up with Intrado to be able to talk about cross-training for our technicians for the next gen equipment. We know that has been an issue in the past in a couple of cases, and so we want to be able to work with Intrado to be able to find out how do we come up with the training that's needed for that to be able to help expedite any type of repairs that might be needed. Kim Haig was looking actually for clarification on that, so I've been working with her, and I haven't gotten anything back from her at this point. Excuse me. The notification from the NOC for the dispatch of services. I did work with our manager in the NOC, and I don't have any specifics to share at this time. However, it was mentioned that what we're working on doing going forward, and it's going to be this year, is what the expectation is we're going to start to utilize AI to be able to help with some of the notifications that are going out, as well as hopefully reducing some of the unnecessary notifications, but we're trying to work through the different agents that will be working into the AI to integrate with that. And the last item on here was the threshold. I worked with Tim Kunkelman prior to the holidays on this, and we actually had identified the thresholds for escalation are actually outlined within the tariff itself right now. So I don't know if there were additional thresholds that somebody was looking to do that we would have to actually probably look at updating the tariff itself, but they're identified in the section on the tariff. Are there any questions?
Jennifer.
I do have the minutes from the July task force meeting pulled up if we want to go back. I can share them if I need to, but the point on the holding accountable in the tariff, 911 Solutions had asked if CenturyLink would be willing to include more service levels agreement style language in the tariff. So I think that particular item is talking about and Jackie's on the call, so I would rather she speak for herself, but having some service level agreements in the tariff itself.
Great voice and everything, yes. That's exactly what I'd asked for in July and haven't heard anything back. As we know that there's another tariff amendment coming, I was hoping that we could start workshops right away to get some of these service level agreements in there, just because of the issues that everyone's been having. I thought it might be a good place to put those, since we are working off a tariff at this time.
Okay, that helps. Thank you, Jennifer and Jackie. I'll take that back and work with Tim and Tressa on this and see if we need to be able to set up to be able to find out more specifics on that. But as far as the workshops are concerned for the next amendment, yes, I think we can probably look at working that into there. But I'll defer to Tim and Tressa when that time comes up.
And Jeff, this is Jennifer. Your bullet point that says provide a single point of contact for escalation. I have that in the minutes that there should be a single point of contact for customer service, similar to a customer advocate or an ombudsman position. So I don't know if the task force is looking for a single point of contact for escalation or single point of contact for a customer service or both.
I can see if it's for customer service, the single point of contact off of that list would be our service manager. But beyond that, I don't know that we have the ability to be able to set up one outside of what's on that escalation list.
Jeff, I think part of the problem is some of us feel like CenturyLink's left hand doesn't talk to the right hand, and customer advocate is kind of the right word. Like who is going to take the reins on a particular problem and drive and get it done, get it taken care of. And we feel like oftentimes that's just not happening, and issues flounder and take forever to get resolved because there isn't one person responsible for Colorado making sure stuff gets done.
And that's in general, not specific issues.
Correct. Whether
Okay.
it's a problem like the long-running problem we've been having at Wesco with alley issues or other matters.
Again, I would probably be deferred back to the service manager as far as a single point for an advocate. I like that phrase more so than a single point of contact. So I like I said, I would have to refer back to that. I don't have any other information I can share right now on that. Because as it stands right now, with Andrew being our service manager, that encompasses more than just the outages, and more it encompasses everything that we're dealing with as far as service is concerned.
Sure.
And Jeff, this is Jennifer again. The ensure proper notification for dispatch of service. We had during an outage investigation in the Q4 of 2025, a situation where Summit County had a PSAP service disruption, and they were told by the NOC that they needed to call several different phone numbers in order to get resolution, which turned out to be a fiber cut. So I think it's important to make it clear in this forum and as you're working on this list that there's supposed to be one point of contact when there's a PSAP service disruption, and that's your NOC. And if the NOC needs to make other notifications, say to Intrado or to a fiber cut team or whatever, then the expectation is that the NOC is going to make those notifications and not cause the PSAP, who's already dealing with disruption to their service, to make a whole bunch more phone calls.
Right. Excuse me. In the case of a disruption or an outage, the first step is always to open a ticket with the NOC and get the ticket number itself. At that point, once you get a ticket open, to help with that escalation process and help get the resolution, and also with the notifications, if things aren't going as expected, Andrew would be able to, at that point, take that ticket information and get a hold of the NOC and do the escalations that are needed to help get the resolution that you're looking for. So again, it would circle back to being the single point of contact or advocate for our service would be going ahead and reaching back out to Andrew.
Yes, I understand that. I'm just saying that the NOC should be handling any other team call out that they need to do. If they need to call a fiber team, if they need to call Intrado because it's an Intrado issue, the NOC should be doing that. The NOC should not be asking PSAPs to make those calls.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I agree. I wasn't aware that was happening. That should be brought back up if that does happen, to let Andrew and myself know, and we can get that corrected. Because if there's an example you said, if there's a fiber cut or a cable cut, no, it shouldn't be the PSAP's responsibility to reach out to the other agencies, especially if it's within Lumen or CenturyLink, we should be able to have that contact taken care of. If it's a third party, again, we should be able to take care of it. But I can't speak specifically for that for the knock. But definitely, if that happens again, let us know, and we'll get that resolved.
Okay, I'll send you over the investigation form for Summit County's incident, so you
Okay.
have all the notes.
Okay, thank you.
But if I remember right, even on the investigation call, CenturyLink or Lumen was still pushing back the way they should be contacting Lumen or CenturyLink. But part of the problem was that, and Michael can answer this, is they actually knew what the outage was and then reported what the outage was. And then they were referred to another one because they knew it was a fiber cut, where it almost sounds like it'd be better if they just didn't know what was going on. But in theory, they should have actually got it on faster, since Summit County knew what the issue was, but then they got pushed. They just kept on getting pushed around.
Okay. Yeah, if you could send that over to me, and I'll double check as far as the notifications are concerned. I can't speak for the knock, like I said, but I'll double check with them.
I don't know if Jim is on or you can relay it, but the analogy that keeps coming to mind when we bring this up this morning is sometimes you guys are harder to deal with than an insurance company.
I will definitely pass that along. And those are some of the changes that I've been working with Jim on, and we are trying to find where we can make dealing with us easier and better to do business with. The insurance company is a good analogy.
Okay. Is there anything else to discuss on this? Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
I appreciate your work on it. Next item is new business. Elections. Kathy will become the chair, so we need to elect a vice chair and a secretary. Jennifer is currently the secretary, correct?
I am, and I'm happy to continue serving. I'm also happy to support someone else if they would like to serve.
Okay. Do we have any interest in a vice chair position?
So for clarification, any of the voting members can serve as the vice chair. So that gives 29 other people a chance to serve as vice chair with Kathy as chair.
And Jennifer, since I don't see anything, I would actually be interested in serving that position.
Sounds great. Carl was kind enough to jump in when we had a vacancy in midterm, so we appreciate your service as chair, Carl.
And then how do we proceed on this? Do we call for an election, or is it done by acclamation?
No, it can be done by acclamation. If you're self-nominating, then that would be a motion for yourself to serve as vice chair.
This is Michael.
Kind of weird to
will
call
second
when, there we go. I was going to say kind of weird to call when you're also the one leading the meeting, but Michael just seconded you, so.
Okay. And then I'll motion to have Jennifer as secretary, unless there's anybody else.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. Any opposed to any of those nominations? Okay, both pass.
Thank you and congratulations.
And then the next item is election of 911 Resource Center Board. I believe Jody's position is up. I know Jody said she's interested in continuing that position. Is anybody else interested in serving in that capacity? Or do I have a motion to, or do I just appoint them, or do we call for an election? It says election.
You can make a motion to elect Jody.
Okay. Is anybody else interested? If not, then I'll make a motion to elect Jody Chan to the 911 Resource Center Board. Can I get a second?
This is Jackie. I second.
Jackie Reynolds, thank you. Any opposed? Okay. Next item is voting member. Tina Bonetta missed 2 meetings in a row, so we have to reappoint her on the board or open it up. Correct, Jennifer?
Correct. We can reappoint or revote Tina back on as a voting member of the task force, or we can open it up for replacement. I believe Tina is on and is willing and would like to continue. Tina?
Sorry. Hi, looking for my mute button. Yes, I'm here and I am interested and willing to continue.
And I believe Tina only missed a few meetings. It wasn't like she didn't attend any meeting last year. So can I get a motion to reappoint Tina Bonetta to the
Jeff Irvin so moves.
Matt
Jeff Irvin,
seconds.
thank you.
Jody Chin,
Matt,
second.
thank you for the second. Any opposed? Thank you. Welcome back, Tina. Next item is CTSI minimum training standards. CJ.
Hi, good morning. My name is CJ Bales. I'm current president of the Colorado Training Standards Institute. I'm basically talking today due to the fact that our goal as a group is to gain your adoption or endorsement we're looking to all Colorado public safety leadership bodies in hopes that all PSAPs incorporate a voluntary training standard. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our group, we're an organization of local 911 call centers across Colorado. We've been working together to develop and deliver training to ensure that every 911 call is handled by a highly trained 911 professional. So our group started out meeting in 2012 when CTOs across the communication training officers, CTOs, across the state realized that there was no training standard within the state. So the group did come together and produced a free basic 40-hour program, with 40 hours kind of being the norm in our industry. And again, those training materials were provided free to any PSAP that requested them, as well as we offered in-person trainings. We were able to teach 3 groups free of charge and disseminate out material that was requested to many PSAPs. And our group was also winners of the Team of the Year at the 2017 Colorado State NENA APCO Conference. Then COVID struck. As we all started to get back into our workflows, we were asked our group to get back together. And we did that just before the 2024 APCO NENA State Conference and presented to the state comm centers and directors, basically reintroducing ourselves and the work we do. Since then, we've continued to put in the work, and we've recently voted to work off the framework of the national training standards for 911 telecommunicators. So again, we're asking again for endorsement or for this standard, which is entirely voluntary to PSAPs. There's no enforcement or mechanism, and none is actually proposed really. And to meet these standards, there's 2 free options. Again, any agency with their own developed training program that meets the standard, and or a completion of the in-person CTSI class. The group does believe that the vast majority of PSAPs already meet this standard, and the 911 Resource Center has graciously offered to add a question to its annual, is it the PSAP data collection form?
Yep.
Yeah, and would ask the centers to attest that it's meeting the standard. And if not, it will ask what the barrier is or what the issue or why they can't meet that standard. And this will be done to try to remove any of those barriers in the future. So again, not an enforcement mechanism, just for data gathering purposes. So again, our group is reaching out to yours and other groups with the goal that if and when the state should try to do something on 911 training at a bureaucratic level, we can come back to them and say, we've already done that legwork and we have a standard in place. Jennifer was kind enough to show the outreach form that we've been providing to the various groups across the state of Colorado. And then, yeah, there's also the framework that we've been working off as a group. And yeah, I am here today to ask for an endorsement.
Sorry, CJ, did you want me to show that letter too? Right now, I'm currently showing the standard.
Oh, yeah, we could have, if needed, or if anybody has any questions on that.
So are you asking for an endorsement from the task force as a whole? Is that what I'm understanding here?
Yes, sir.
I believe I've seen this a while back. I don't remember if anything has changed.
No.
So there hasn't been a whole lot of changes since we circulated it. This was circulated, as CJ said, to all of the 911 centers for feedback before the CTSI adopted it. And I think it's important to note that these are all, everything in the annex is the training topics that need to be covered in your minimum training standard. However, the degree to which it's covered can be determined by the agency's needs. So for example, if you go into, say, emergency communications technology, and you're in a center that isn't taking video to 911 or not using AI, then the extent of your coverage is going to be there are, a statement or some sort of training that says there are 911 centers across the state and around the country that do take video to 911. However, XYZ PSAP is not doing that yet. And there are centers that are taking non-emergency calls through AI, but we're not doing that. So whereas another, if you have a CAD system, you're going to go much deeper into your training on your CAD system. So it has to be covered. If it's on this annex, it has to be covered at least an awareness level so that any 911 professional working in Colorado understands what alternative response resources means or what a nurse triage program means. Even if you're not using it, their first exposure to it isn't going to be this other PSAP that calls up and says, hey, I'm calling, I'm a nurse in a 911 center, and they're not like trying to learn about it mid-call kind of a thing. As CJ said, this is based on the national minimum training recommendations that should be released in the next month or two. And the CTSI is super proud of the work that's been done on adopting this standard and is currently working on building their material to match all of the recommended training topics so that when CTSI offers classes, hopefully later this year, the material will be matching what's in the standard as well.
Are there any questions from the group? Is there any direction from the group? We could either vote to endorse it or have this sent out again and bring it back up at the next meeting. Or if there's another item. I do agree with it in concept, but I just don't remember everything in it.
Yeah, and that's very fair. And there is a lot of material to go over as far as the guidelines. So if need be, we'd be more than happy to send it back out for review or questions. And then if we can come back next month and go from there.
We meet every other month, but I think what we should do if we send it out is have Jennifer send it out to the task force group. So we're making sure every voting member sees it. Is there any preference from the task force on how to proceed?
Carl, this is Kimberly. I like that idea. I think some additional time to review it, knowing that a ask is being made for a motion at the next meeting.
Okay, anybody opposed to that? And then Jennifer, can you get with Kathy about adding this to the agenda for the next meeting in March?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your work on the CJ and making the meeting.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Okay, next item, GIS routing project kickoff, Matt.
Thank you. Not sure everyone knows, but the kickoff meeting for Colorado GIS routing is next Tuesday. This isn't something that, I'm part of the leadership in, but a couple of concerning things have come to mind as I've looked into this this week and a little bit last week, and it looks like the invite to the kickoff meeting went to CenturyLink's list of PSAP contacts, no authority contacts, and the recipient list appears to have also not included all PSAP contacts. So it sort of seems like not everyone got the invite, knows about it, and or perhaps has not passed it along to their GIS agents, partners, or vendors. Caroline, who is spearheading this for Colorado for Intrado, told me this morning that she's only received 12 responses so far, and the kickoff meeting is on Tuesday. So I think there might be a breakdown in communication from getting this started. So I'm sharing this just in case you haven't heard about it or seen the invite yet. Perhaps be asking Tracy Dillow if you haven't, or try to reach Caroline Comans at Intrado directly. There's a form that you'll need to fill out, or you and or your GIS partner will need to fill out, and be sure to try to take part in that. At least that's what it seems like. If there's some other intent behind it, some sort of regional approach or partial group approach, one group at a time from CenturyLink, I'm not aware of it. The people in the list range from Denver to us to a few other people. So it doesn't seem to be a regionalized approach. I'm not sure what's going on there. Also, if you did receive it and you've been studying the EGDMS guide from Intrado, if you or your GIS folks have been comparing it to the NINA GIS data model, you'll probably notice that there are a number of significant discrepancies between the GIS data schemas in Intrado's EGDMS guide and the NINA data model. Granted, the data model has been a little bit of a moving target between version 2 and version 3 that's about to be published by NINA. You'll probably notice that EGDMS more closely matches version 3, which is not yet official and published, but Caroline at Intrado, who's spearheading this, she and Ray Horning, I think it is, at Intrado, have been on the NINA committee developing version 3 of the data model, and so they are experts in it. And she told me that their goal is to essentially match NINA's version 3, even though it may not look like it in the documentation we've received so far. So if you notice those discrepancies, don't sweat it. We'll get there with respect to version 3. So does anybody have questions about this? Kimberly.
I appreciate that information. I actually met with my GIS team yesterday and we had some concerns. Is there consideration to either doing a second meeting? Because I think the conversation and then hearing other concerns and other GIS experts talking through this with Caroline would be beneficial. And since the invite didn't have the reach it should have had, Should
Yep.
we reschedule or do a second kickoff meeting so we can have that collaboration and, you know, sharing of ideas with the GIS experts?
Mhm. Mhm. One thing I forgot to mention is that Caroline sent the EGDMS guide back to the Intrado team to revamp it to correctly match data model version 3. As far as a second meeting, I got the impression I spent an hour on the phone with Caroline this morning. She agreed to meet with our regional group for our regional discussions about the provisional boundary, right? Because we do regional GIS data integration, and there are a lot of twists and turns to this. My sense from talking with her is she's willing to meet with folks on regional group basis. I think she would be willing to do a second meeting beyond the initial kickoff meeting. It's almost a necessity because only 12 people have responded to her so far in the state. And I think she's already sort of presuming that further wider scope meetings are going to be required. So I'm pretty sure she would say yes if there was a request. I think Jeff had his hand up first. Winkleman.
Thanks, Matt. I'm working with Tracy as far as the contact information is concerned. I will work with her. I've created an update or a file that will update as the changes are made for both the PSAP as well as the authority boards.
For the contents.
I'm sorry, what's that?
For your contact list.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep. So I will get that over to Tracy. I've already sent that over to her, and I'm going to talk to her a little bit later today in more detail instead of what just the email had. So we'll try and get this corrected.
So Jeff, this is an example of like trying to work with an insurance company. We shouldn't have to be helping you guys figure out how to help us appropriately.
You're absolutely right. And when we talked yesterday, I wasn't aware of the miss on this. So I will work with Tracy and get that corrected.
Yeah. And Jeff, I'm not throwing you under the bus, but I'll just share with everyone. Jeff didn't even know about this meeting when I talked to him yesterday.
It was a surprise. So thank you, and I appreciate it.
So this is really more in the domain of the EZNet users group as the customers of the service, and that's the venue for airing and working out these service related kinds of issues. But it's the meeting's next week, and so I felt it necessary to discuss this with the whole task force today.
Jackie, go ahead.
Yes, so what I understand you saying, because I did get this email in a roundabout way, as MSAG coordinator in a couple places. It was not sent to the MSAG coordinator list for one. But my question being, and unless you filled out the form, you didn't get the meeting invite. Is that the case? Because I did not know anything about the meeting, nor I've just reread the email to make sure there was nothing about a meeting in the initial email.
Yeah, so Tracy sent the invite with instruction to fill out the form and send it to Caroline. And then Caroline is sending out the invites for Caroline's kickoff meeting.
Okay, I'll get it filled out.
You had to fill out that form and send it to Caroline to get the invite.
Got it. Thanks.
Jennifer, go ahead.
Thanks. I'm just seeking clarification, and I don't know if Jeff knows or not, but is this meant to be the kickoff meeting for everyone in the state, or was this meant to be like a targeted group of agencies that are going first, or do we know?
That's part of the conversation Matt and I had yesterday. If you look at the initial list, I don't think there's a region specific on this, so I don't know to answer your question, and that's what we need to find out.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. We have an EZNet users group meeting, but it's late this month to accommodate both the WIC and SVP. I do think that by the time we get to that meeting on the 28th, it would be good to have some clarity as to whether or not this is supposed to be everybody in the state for the kickoff meeting, or if we're going to have a series of kickoff meetings.
Right. No, that's what I'm going to find out. I'm going to try and get a hold of Tracy here in a little bit and find out if she knows. If not, I'll reach out to Caroline directly.
I can tell you Caroline's concerned at the low number of responses.
Okay. And that could be because of the low number of invites that went out. So
And-
I'll work with Tracy and Caroline and see what we can do to get this turned around.
Kimberly, go ahead.
So this is on topic, but off topic. So as we're talking about this GIS initiative, which is critical, part of the tariff, additional funding to pay for it. We're still trying to button up the improvement plan from round 1 of improvement plan. And at the last EZNet users group, CenturyLink said that they're going to be going forward and having the second improvement plan. And so this is probably more of a question or to Tressa and the CenturyLink team of, does CenturyLink need to pause to button up some of these initiatives to get this project foundation going correctly on this critical GIS routing before we're biting off even more and coming forward with another plan? So I know that CenturyLink didn't have an update today on the improvement plan or any of that for this group, but I do think it's critical and a critical question that they should really consider. Can they do more? Is the company able to successfully add additional tariff costs and projects when we're still trying to kickstart this GIS initiative?
I completely understand. I can't speak to anything right now because we're still with the holidays. Everyone knows how it goes when you try to get conversations going, and the conversation started before the holidays, and now we're kind of revolving back to it on different things that we can do for that second network improvement plan, but I don't have anything to share right now. But we are, having the talks with it, and Tim's out this week, but I'll be talking. I have a meeting set with him and to kind of try to iron a couple of things out, and then we'll have more information.
And that's great. And I just hope Tressa, the team, really talks about bandwidth and expertise and coordination and project management, and if the company overall is able to do that as part of it, because Matt brought forward a great example of starting a project with bad communication, and we don't want that, right? This is a critical project. We want it to go well, and we're going to be charged starting in March, if I understand correctly.
I completely understand. I completely get it.
Well, Carl, for my part on this item, that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully there'll be additional meetings. Next item is Star Codes update. Jennifer.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that we have a new star code list. If you are in a PSAP and you have not gotten it yet, please reach out to me so that I can send it to you. We are working with Intrado to deactivate duplicate star code lists. That worked. The first part of this project is to get the list out so that you can update your materials and your speed dials. I don't want to deactivate any star codes until I'm confident that we've got all of those materials at the consoles and in your call handling equipment updated, so that if you're trying to transfer, you're not going to a star code that's no longer there. So please reach out to me if you need the star code list. Obviously, I'm not going to put it out there in any of our public folders for obvious reasons. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you. Any questions for Jennifer? Okay, before we adjourn, I'll go to future meetings. 911 future planning is on January 20th from 10 to 12. EZNet user group is the 28th of January, 10 to 11:30. 911 task force is March 12th. There's also SBP next week in New Orleans, and Michael Berry is the team captain for 911 Goes to Washington. We thank him for all his work on that. Is there anything else before we adjourn? Okay, seeing none, we'll be adjourned at 11:26. Thank you, everybody.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone.